here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, everybody. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811. 877-381-3811. Well, I don't know what to expect tomorrow. You read University of Virginia, Larry Sabato, it's over. A massive defeat, electoral college-wise. Meanwhile, you look at some of these other prognosticators. 538. Nate Silver's the guy's name. He says one state moves and it's possible Trump wins the Electoral College. We can get into these later. Maybe, maybe not. But here's what I want to tell you. And I touched on this Friday, but it requires a little bit more attention here. Florida, North Carolina, Virginia, Colorado, and New Hampshire. You know, ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't long ago we used to call those red states. Now we call them battleground states. What's happened in Florida, North Carolina, Virginia, Colorado? Not so much in New Hampshire. You have people in Massachusetts moving to New Hampshire. You know, this is a typical problem where leftist Democrats destroy their own state, then they move into a red state, and they vote to destroy that state. They can't help themselves. But how in the world did Florida, North Carolina, Virginia, and Colorado become purple states? And the answer is unbridled immigration. North Carolina's gotten the worst of it. Virginia's in the top 10. Colorado was targeted 10 years ago and flipped. And Florida's being overwhelmed now. You can't win office, the presidency, if you keep losing states, whether it's the popular vote or the Electoral College vote. Arizona, they were concerned about that a few weeks ago. They were concerned about Georgia. That appears to have moved back. These things aren't just happening. All of a sudden, the American people are liberals. Well, there are a lot of them. This is a concerted, strategic model that they've put in place, funded by billionaires, Soros, but he's not the only one, to change the citizenry of the country. And if Hillary Clinton's elected, you can bet she's going to put her foot down on the gas pedal. She's already talked about legalizing people who are here illegally. Well, that's the step that precedes citizenship. It's that simple. And they will do that, and if they take the Senate, there'll be almost nothing to stop them. And Obama showed it away. Soft fascism. Just use really cool language, talk about the people, talk about rights, talk about our history, pervert it, but talk about it. Smile. You go on, MTV and do stuff like that, and you get away with it. Texas. I fear what Texas is going to be 10 years from now. It doesn't take much. You know, we don't even compete in California anymore for the presidency. The state that gave us Ronald Reagan, 2 massive landslides. The state that even won in 1988 for George H.W. Bush. There's no chance now. No chance. Well, what happened in 20, 25 years? What happened is that the Democrat Party, using immigration, demographics, has conquered state after state. You know full well, if people coming into this country were voting Republican, they would build a wall on the southern border. You know that full well. If you understand the mindset of the left, even those who are unwittingly part of it, the mindset of the leaders of the left, whether they be politicians or bureaucrats or academics or what have you, the mindset is the law doesn't matter. The Constitution doesn't matter. Process, procedures, they just don't matter. We are on a righteous campaign. History is behind us. We had a righteous campaign to create paradise here in America. And that means bulldozing the Constitution, bulldozing capitalism, bulldozing individualism. We don't care where these votes come from. We just need them. It's not about the people. It's about the elitists. It's about the rulers. We've got to make sure that our rule isn't temporary, that our rule is not subject to election cycles, that our rule is permanent, and that our changes are permanent. Well, as permanent as we want them to be. We can constantly change them, but we have to change them in a way that moves them in our trajectory, in our direction. What makes me different than a lot of these conservatives you see on TV and radio, a lot of them that you hear, what makes me different in radio is this isn't surface stuff for me. This isn't rah-rah, rocket stuff for me, bim, boom, bop. I understand fundamentally what's going on, and so do you. This isn't an election, it's a war. A war over politics. That's what it is. The left gets violent over it. We don't get violent over it. They get violent over it. This is a battle between traditional principles, traditional beliefs, traditional values, based in faith and family and country. That's us. Versus a battle on the other side, which believes in concentrated, centralized power, which believes that individual free will gets into the way of the great plans that the planners have. You may like your private property, but they have targeted your private property. You may like your health care, but they have targeted your health care. And on down the road. And there's never going to be any end to this. If you've read the first chapter of Ameritopia, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There can never be the end of this. They will never have a final plan, not a governing document. We won't know when there's success. We won't know when we've achieved nirvana because we never will. Endless torment, endless regulations, endless taxation, endless harassment. And the more independent you are, the more aggressive they will be in putting you down. The more successful you are, the more of your success, whether it's material or otherwise, they intend to take from you. This isn't just an election. This is about the future. And I don't need to be lectured, and neither do you, about Donald Trump's problems and issues and foibles. This is not the time for that. He is the vessel through whom we seek to slow what's happening to the country. It's that simple. And tomorrow when you vote, you're going to be standing in line with people who are going to be voting to further destroy our constitutional republic, to further open the borders, to further vote to take the money you earn for your family and your retirement, to take it from you, to further vote to trash the police departments in this country, to further vote to eviscerate the military. They're going to vote for the soft tyranny that's become the Democrat Party. While we have people on our side dancing on the head of a pin. Well, we have people on our side saying, no, come on now. They don't even get it, in my opinion. And by the way, even if Hillary is stopped tomorrow, their push is never going to stop. They are resolute. These people have resolve. Whereas too many of us surrender. People on TV and radio saying after the election, I'm giving up. It's all over. We're going to talk about meatballs and, pastry. And really? It's not what my father and mother taught me. I think about my grandfather fighting on Iwo Jima and Guam, and my great-uncle fighting on Guadalcanal. I think about those young men and women in hellhole after hellhole. They have to say, well, I lose Tuesday, let's move on. Move on to what? Move on to what? Alexis de Tocqueville talked about this. The rules and the regulations and the beating down of the people. Beat them down, beat them down, beat them down until they're exhausted. Until they've lost any motivation, any free will, any independence. And then they go to the polls and they vote as if they have some control over their life. We can't keep fighting the primary, folks. The election is in what? Well, where I live, it's less than 12 hours it starts. In Virginia. We have to fight the other side now. I don't know if it's too late or not. I just don't know. It may well be, but I can't worry about that, and neither can you. Not when we're trying to get people to vote. You can find whatever poll you want. You can find that it's really, really close, that Hillary's going to win in a landslide. By the way, nobody says Trump's going to win in a landslide. I have a story here that the Hispanic vote surge could shake up the presidential election. This is from Fox Latino. Didn't even know there was a Fox Latino, but there is. Story in the Weekly Standard, the Senate is breaking toward the GOP late. Odd show. I don't think anybody really knows with all this early voting. I think it's tough to know. But I know we don't have some great lead. Nobody says that. Nobody says that. You and I, we're what's left, truthfully, of the voices of the founders. We're it. Even among some conservatives, even among talk show hosts and TV hosts, they've abandoned it. They ridicule them. They ridicule those of us who talk about it. We're it. Us. That's it. Nobody else seems to care. After this election, we're not going to throw our arms in the air no matter who's elected and talk about things that don't matter. There's thousands and thousands of radio stations in this country where most of them talk about things that don't matter. No, you and I, we're going to need to figure this out and plan for the next day. Depending on what happens. If Trump wins and we hold the Senate, we're going to have to come up with one battle plan. If he loses, and let's say we lose the Senate, we're going to have to come up with another one. But those of us who have children and grandchildren know we can't just go into the closet and lock the door and pretend nothing happened. No matter how dark or bleak it might get, and it may not, we have to deal with it. That's what we do. That's what we Americans do. If Donald Trump wins, we're going to have fights on our hands with the Democrats, with the left, with the media, and with him. If Hillary Clinton wins, it's all hands on deck. Because that's a battle between liberty and tyranny. It just flat out is. It's all hands on deck. And I don't care what the media says. We all need to get along. We all need to work together. We all need to have bipartisanship. The left never does that. Obama has torn this country apart. He has torn this country apart. And Hillary Clinton will do exactly the same thing. And on top of all the rest, she's a liar. She's corrupt. In my view, she's a crook. and she should be prosecuted. But because Mr. Comey is a truly bizarre man, clearly unfit to be the director of the FBI, as I said back in July. But he's bouncing here, bouncing there. He responds to political pressure and so forth. He's way out of his league. Way out of his league. If Hillary Clinton's elected, she will not be indicted. She just won't. She'll be above the law. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
So here is the most dire one. Washington Times. Hillary Clinton is poised to become the 45th president of the United States, and Democrats are on the verge of capturing control of the Senate, according to the final pre-election predictions from the University of Virginia Center for Politics. The forecast from Sabato, Klondike, and Skelly shows Mrs. Clinton defeating Trump by 322 to 216 margin in the Electoral College. The Democrats will gain control of the Senate by flipping control of 4 seats and winning the White House, giving the vice president the tie-breaking vote. They also predict the Democrats will pick up 13 seats in the House. In their analysis, Trump will emerge victorious in the swing states of Iowa and Ohio. When did Ohio become a swing state, for God's sakes? But will come up short in Colorado, Nevada, Florida, New Hampshire, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those 6 states used to be solid Republican. 5 of them. I won't tell you who he thinks is going to lose. I don't want to influence that process. And then we have this. If I can find it. Let's see. We have the Nate Silver Group, former New York Times writer, supposed to be a genius on this stuff. He says, one state moves, and Trump can win the Electoral College. Now, We'll take a look at the states quickly, and we'll move on, because there's only a limited point to all this anyway. I'll be right back.
This is Radio Free America on the Mark Levin Show. Call now, 877-381-3811.
Win, lose, or draw after this election. If McConnell doesn't go, and Priebus doesn't go, and the House knuckleheads don't go, particularly this guy Kevin McCarthy, the Republican Party is doomed. And I have a very open mind about conservatives walking. I really do. The fact is that this current scenario exists because of Mitch McConnell and John Boehner and Reince Priebus. And other Republicans in the leadership, too, who undertook an intentional campaign of deceit in 2010 with the Tea Party movement, an intentional campaign of deceit in 2014. Almost the next day turned around and told us, no, we're not going to really fight over the budgets. No, we don't have the constitutional power to appeal Obamacare. No, no, no. When they ran ads, and I played them for you to show you what a bunch of hypocrites and liars they are, when they ran ads to get elected saying they do exactly those things. So they created this scenario. In essence, they've destroyed their own party. I just read some article today somebody sent to me. There's a bunch of so-called conservative intellectuals meeting and talking. Did you see this one, Rich? Conservative intellectuals. Most of them were staffers to George W. Bush. These are conservative intellectuals. On what basis are they conservative intellectuals? Seriously, I'm quite serious about this. They're not conservative intellectuals as far as I'm concerned. What have they written that's so, I don't know, that's so profound and important and new and different and so forth and so nothing. Same social circles. They promote each other, and they do it in the liberal media. Now, these people are not conservative intellectuals. They're navel-gazers. They have no followers. Even in academia, they have no followers. So there's a lot you and I are going to sort through. I'm working on it now. I've been working on it for months. I really have. We led the Tea Party movement. None of these other hosts did. We've led the constitutional conservative movement. And we will lead what comes next. I don't care if there's 12 of us left. No matter who's elected. No matter what happens to Congress. We have to. And if you listen to this program, as I've gone through a number of these things, these elections are not even about policies. They're about liberty. Individual liberty. The circle of liberty around you is shrinking. It's shrinking. And so you have, in Hillary Clinton, one of the modern-day leaders of this soft tyrannical movement that is embodied in the modern-day Democrat Party that utterly and completely rejects the American heritage. They just do. You can see they do. Now, I read you the most negative take on tomorrow's election. Now, here's a positive one. In Politico by Steve Shepard. Trump hangs tough in battleground states. Clinton is consistently ahead in national polls, but the state-level polls tell a different story. Stephen Shepard. Trump is still in the hunt. This is from 11:17 a.m. Eastern this morning. While Hillary Clinton remains consistently ahead of Trump in national election polling. The race is closer in the most populous battleground states where Trump could still spring an upset. 6 major national polls released on Monday show Clinton with a lead ranging between 3 and 6 points, an even more significant advantage than Obama enjoyed going into the final day of his 2012 re-election campaign against Romney, which is sobering, of course. But new surveys in Florida and North Carolina show the race for those states combined 44 electoral votes on a knife's edge, suggesting Clinton is not locked down an electoral college majority despite her national despite her national advantage. The polls, both national and state surveys, also show larger than usual percentage of voters undecided or lining up behind third-party candidates, increasing the odds of an unpredictable result on Tuesday. The national surveys released Monday are remarkably consistent. In the new polls from pollsters who haven't been in the field since mid-October, Clinton's lead has shrunk significantly. But in the higher frequency polls, Clinton's lead is slightly larger than last week, and what now appears to have been the peak of Trump's surge. New Bloomberg Politics survey conducted Friday through Sunday shows Clinton leading Trump by 3 points, 46-43. Clinton is winning 86% of Democrats, roughly equal to Trump's 85% of Republicans. True independents tilt toward Trump in the poll 44-38. The percentage of Democrats and Republicans balking at supporting their respective nominees are historically large. Latest ABC Washington Post tracking poll conducted Wednesday through Saturday gives Clinton a 4-point lead, 47-43. She gets 87% of the Democrats. Trump gets 84% of the Democrats. Of the Republicans. And Trump has a 5-point lead with independents. Clinton also has a 47-43 lead in a new CBS poll conducted Wednesday through Sunday, though, unlike the other two polls, it reflects a head-to-head match instead of... Why do they do these head-to-head matches? It's not a head-to-head match. Whatever the outcome, why do they do that? Clinton also leads by 4 points in a new Fox News poll conducted Thursday through Sunday, 48-44. Clinton is slightly higher, more in line with recent precedent among Democrats, 91% support. Trump has 86% with Republicans. Trump has a 6-point lead with independents. Monmouth University shows Clinton by 6 points, 50-44 and so forth. So you can see where these national trends are. But Clinton's advantage is less clear in the more limited state polling. New Quinnipiac University polls in Florida and North Carolina show Clinton ahead by 1 and 2 points respectively. A Siena College poll in North Carolina conducted for the New York Times shows a tied race. In Florida, the race remains neck and neck on most measures, with Clinton leading overall 46-45. Clinton gets 85% of Democrats, Trump 86%. Independents tilt toward Clinton by a single point. Quinnipiac poll in North Carolina shows Clinton ahead 47-45. She gets 92% of Democrats, Trump 89% of Republicans. Trump has a 9-point lead among independents. Clinton does lead in both states among early voters by 4 points in Florida, 12 in North Carolina. But among likely election voters, election day voters, Trump is ahead. Let me give you a little bit more. Meanwhile, the Siena Upshot poll in North Carolina shows the two candidates deadlocked at 44%. 12% of likely voters either undecided or voting for third parties. Obviously, those two states are critical. Trump needs both of them. If Trump manages to win Florida, North Carolina, and Ohio, puts him within one state of capturing the White House based on other trends, says Politico. Allocating states as reflected in the current political battleground states polling average without Florida and North Carolina, assuming neither candidate flips another competitive non-battleground state, like Clinton winning Georgia or Trump winning Minnesota, Clinton would be at 279 electoral college votes. So it will be tough. The reason why everybody's in Michigan, all the Democrats, and Trump went there too, is they need to hold Michigan, and Trump needs a leaning Democrat state, even if he runs the table on these formerly Republican, now so-called battleground states. Is this pretty clear, Mr. Producer? I don't like unloading all this stuff, but... So he needs to win Florida. He will win, I believe, Ohio. He needs to win, so a bunch of these so-called battleground states, but he also needs to pick up a leaning Democrat state. So this is what's happened to the country thanks to really two main things. Number one, well, really three. Number one, immigration. No question about it. Number two, the size of the government has conquered a lot of people. A lot of people who may have otherwise been more independent of thought and action, they now rely on big government. And number three, the candidates, the two of them, have horrific negatives. Over 80% of the American people can't stand either of them, or both of them. Opportunity lost on somebody's part, isn't it? That's where we are. Now, what am I supposed to do? Read those to you over and over and over and over again? No, I'm not going to. Fox Latino. And they point out there that there is a huge uptick in Hispanic voting. And, of course, the vast majority are voting Democrat. Vast majority are voting Democrat. I am telling you now, after this election, whomever wins, that the Republican establishment will try to pin a loss on us and then try and take credit for victory. The Republican establishment will also try to wipe out whatever vestiges of conservatism is left in the party. And if they do that, a lot of us may well walk, and that's enough is enough. It's a shell of a party anyway. And when you deliver majorities to a Republican Party to stop the most radical president, perhaps ever, and they fail to do anything effective, they run on saying they'll stop them, and then when they're elected, they say they can't. Well, I think the American people are going to be absolutely furious with that. Continue to be furious with that, I should say. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
You know, for some people, this is a big game. Some people in the media, it's a game. It's ratings. You'll hear them say, look, tomorrow, whatever happens tomorrow, there'll always come Wednesday. Then you know the person's an idiot. Yeah, we know that Wednesday's coming. And you have a microphone and a camera. Exactly why? This is how people brush off the seriousness of what's taking place in this country. And they brush it off, and next time you turn around and your country's gone. And the country is almost gone, not because of the people in the country, but because of the people who run the country and the people who are bringing other people into this country. We have people voting in this country. We're supposed to romanticize them. We have people voting in this country, many of whom are new, many of whom are wonderful people, but many of whom really aren't. They're voting in this country to change the country. The Democrat Party exists to change the country. Please hear me. This is very important. The Democrat Party is now the apparatus for the statists. That's all it is. It's about stealing your individual liberty and empowering centralized government. That's what it's about. You've got guys like Gruber running around who created your health care system. He's a self-appointed mastermind. And we're going to get much, much more of this. So every day we're battling to retain as much of our individual liberty as we possibly can. The economy is not in good shape. Since we left the gold standard in 1971, total outstanding public and private debt soared by 40 times. And I'm going to tell you something else. The Federal Reserve is politicized as it can possibly be. It's sitting there until December when it intends to, at least the suggestions are, raise interest rates. Now, interest rates should have been raised years ago. But in order to help Obama, his profligate spending, in order to make it possible to have massive, loans and debt and all the rest, so the feds aren't paying what are rational interest rates, they've kept their foot on the brake. The interest rates have been as close to zero as they possibly can, and now for over a decade. Well, that's not going to stand. They're going to raise interest rates, and as soon as that happens, all hell's going to break loose. And, by the way, if she's elected, 1.4 to 1.5 trillion in tax increases, war on the private sector goes on and so forth and so on. These things happen. Well, what do you think is going to happen to the economy? The economy has never fully recovered. We haven't grown over 3% in a single quarter. That's never happened post-World War II. Well, this word diversification is very important. It's very important. The stock market goes up and down, as you would expect. Many of us have mutual funds and our pension plans that diversify, and they include stock. A lot of this quantitative easing has pumped up the stock market. Well, that won't go on forever, now will it? They crashed the real estate market, didn't they, with the Community Reinvestment Act. So you need to diversify. And one of the ways I diversify is with gold and silver. So I want to strongly encourage you to check it out. You can call Goldline. You can acquire the recognized safe haven asset that's been valued as a storehouse of wealth for centuries. And they'll tell you all about it. Any questions, any concerns you have? Goldline's the only company I trust when it comes to buying gold. They've been in business since 1960. Now, you can stay in business for 55, 56 years because you're the best and most transparent at what you do. So call Goldline. Ask them whatever you want. Look into their products. Check them out. 1-877-365-COIN. Don't wait. Give them a buzz. 1-877-365-COIN. And please read Gold Line's important risk information to see if buying gold is right for you. 1-877-365-COIN. 1-877-365-COIN. Let's take a call here. Let us go to Linda, Castro Valley, California, the great KSFO. Go.
Hi, Mark. I just want to say, how can anybody vote for Hillary? I mean, apparently people aren't listening.
All right, let's stop you for a second. Tens of millions of people are going to vote for Hillary. Go ahead.
This bit of her stealing 95% of the donations for personal use that was made to her so-called charity.
But obviously listen to me, please. Obviously, tens of millions of people don't care.
Yeah, I know. The media just hasn't.
No, but even with the media, tens of millions of people who are on the dole, tens of millions of people who believe in active centralized government, tens of millions of people don't care.
Right. I also wanted to bring up the fact that
okay.
all of Hillary's advertising focuses on comments that Trump's made about women. How about talking about Bill Clinton eroding the morals of
Okay, listen to me. We are 12 hours from voting. It's not how about we talk about how about it is not going to matter. You either turn out your base now or you don't. You understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
Nobody's going to be convinced by this point at this point. This has been going on for months and months and months. Now you got to do the hard work. Tell your family to come out and vote and your friends and your colleagues. You don't need to persuade me. We don't need to repeat arguments that have been made for the last 90 days. Get out and kick some ass. I'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, everybody. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Mr. Producer, how can people turn me off when they claim they don't listen to me anymore? Like a bunch of fools over there at Free Republic. I'm turning him off. He's too sour. Sour? Do they understand how stupid they are? Go through the various scenarios here, talking about the establishment. They should turn me off. I want nothing to do with them. Get lost. Seriously. Go jump to the other side where they actually belong. Anyway, Josh Earnest was on MSLST today. This is typical of a statist progressive, what he's about to say. Listen to this. Cut 11, go.
The other thing, Steve, about tonight is that President Obama will be speaking from a historic place. He'll be standing right outside Independence Hall in Philadelphia, the place where 240 years ago the founders of our country signed the Declaration of Independence. They dreamed big dreams for this country. They envisioned a place where people would be free to worship and speak as they choose. But even the founders, I don't think, envisioned a scenario in which the country that they founded would be led by a woman.
Stop. Well, where did they say that? That the country wouldn't be led by a woman? Where did they say that? You know, there were strong women back then, you idiot. Maybe he doesn't remember Dolly Madison. Now, I know she didn't have a cement and steel garden. But maybe Doofus, Josh Not Earnest, should check out Dolly Madison, among others. There are a lot of very important strong women at the founding. Go ahead.
We have an opportunity as a country, President Obama will make the case, we have an opportunity as a country to do something that even the founders never envisioned.
This is just too much. So now we should vote for Hillary because she's a woman. Okay, before they told us to treat her like an equal. And this is the game that's played. It's the game that was played with and by Obama with race, and now it's the game that's played with and by Hillary Clinton. We've come so far from those damn founders, ladies and gentlemen. The fact that they gave us independence, the fact they set up this magnificent country the way they did and gave us our Constitution, the fact that they did all this, I mean, even they didn't envision this. The great thing, and it's missed on this fool, about the Declaration, the Constitution, the founders and the framers is they created a circumstance in which we could do these things, even though they knew at the time they couldn't actually do them. And that's the difference between them and this idiot. Truthfully. So Obama's going to speak at Independence Hall. That was my old hangout. That's where I used to go a lot. And what's he going to do? Scream at the top of his lungs? Now, to underscore what I've been saying here about these statist progressives, I want you to listen to this. This is Obama on MSLSD yesterday. Cut 4, Mr. Producer. Go.
You know, the main thing that I've been trying to explain to people is that if you supported me in 08, if you supported me in 12, if you think that I've done a good job, if you believe that Michelle's done a good job, everything that we've done over the last 8 years will be reversed with a Trump presidency. And everything will be sustained and built on with a Hillary Clinton presidency. So this vote is as important as any of those other two votes in being able to maintain a progressive agenda.
There it is, a progressive agenda. My point. See, Barack Obama understands the history of the progressive era. He does. Mitch McConnell doesn't know what he's doing. He's flapping his gums. He doesn't have the foggiest idea what he's up against. And so for him, a big victory is getting more amendments on bills, getting more bills passed and signed by Obama. It's bipartisan governance. I see this in the media, too. But bipartisan governance on their terms means a rejection of the constitutionalism. That's why he's fighting like hell for Hillary Clinton. He doesn't like Hillary Clinton. He doesn't like Hillary Clinton. Well, since I started down this road, here is Obama on MITU. What is that? A network for young Latinos. So now we have media more and more based on your ethnic background. This is what I mean about balkanization. Go ahead, please. Cut 2.
Unfortunately, here in America, there is a tradition of making it hard for people to vote.
There you go. America sucks. We make it hard for people to vote. Like, get off your ass and get in line and cast a ballot. That's not fair. It's not fair. Go ahead.
It was done purposely to prevent African Americans from voting. And that tradition sometimes has carried over.
No, it hasn't carried over anywhere. And that was your party. Where is that carried over, making it difficult for people to vote, African Americans or anybody else? Where does that exist? It's against the Voting Rights Act. Then bring a lawsuit against that state or that county or that district. Where is that happening? Name one place. You demagogue, right up to the end. Go ahead.
Here's the good news. Even though people try to discourage you from voting, if you want to vote and you show up at your polling place, they can't stop you from voting.
Oh. Then what the hell are you talking about? So what's your beef? This guy's unbelievable. So Obama was on Real Time with Bill Maher, Mr. Producer? You mean the guy that curses all the time with the F word? And Obama doesn't mind that. Same guy. Cut 1, go.
In some ways, the label socialism doesn't make that much sense in a context where there's no economy that doesn't have some socialist elements, meaning that there's some common goods that we all agree everybody should have. Mm-hmm. That's what Social Security is. That's what Medicare is to some extent. That's what public schools are.
Actually, that's not socialism. It's too bad he is illiterate even in the ideology that he professes to promote. That's not socialism. And it's not particularly wise. I guess my question would be, so why are you bankrupting Medicare and Social Security? Is that socialism too? Public schools, that's socialism? How is that socialism? Public schools have nothing to do with an economy. It has nothing to do with economics. That's a different issue. That goes to the issue of federalism, not socialism. As for Social Security and Medicare, they're destroying Social Security and Medicare. Aren't they? Go ahead.
To make sure that everybody, no matter the circumstances of your birth, have these baseline goods.
This is the historic, this is material historicism. That's what the philosophers call this. Material historicism. Really started with Hegel in Germany. Not even him, but the big proponent of it. And, of course, Karl Marx and Engels and the progressive movement. Everybody has a right to more than a base of food and housing and provisions and so forth, that in their world there's this radical egalitarianism where there's really no gaps between income and wealth, and everybody has to have a certain level of wealth and income, and this is the job of the government, of the community. And so it's worse than socialism, actually. And this is why the individual needs to be degraded. This is why the individual is not successful. He or she are only successful because of government, because of roads and, all these other things, schools, so forth. This is their mindset. They are totally unmoored from the Constitution. They could care less. They could care less. Go ahead.
As you know, I felt pretty strongly that health care should be one of those goods.
And he's not unique in this. This comes from a guy named Seeger. He was somebody that had enormous influence 100 years ago, had enormous influence on Wilson, had enormous influence on Franklin Roosevelt. Obama's just, the great-grandchild of this ideology. Everybody should have health care. Everybody should have housing. Everybody should have food. Everybody should have this. Everybody should have that. And the idea of individual free will cuts against that. In other words, the issue isn't liberty. You should have the liberty to pursue a living. You should have the liberty to purchase a home. You should have the liberty to put food on the table. You should have the liberty to have choices between health care and so on. No. That's the old liberty. We have a new liberty. That people cannot truly be liberated unless we provide them for the means to exist. See the difference? Anyway, go ahead.
I've said in the past that if I were designing a system from scratch...
Now listen to this.
I would have...
Stop. If I were designing a system from scratch... They're always designing systems from scratch because everything that went before is wrong and everything that starts today is good. Go.
Looked at a single-payer system. But we do have legacy systems, and that's the only thing that sometimes when I've had conversations with Bernie, I've said to him, that we don't start from scratch.
This guy is just... Now, the scary part about this statist progressivism, I'll get off this in a minute, but the scary part of it, any idiot with an idea can it can be said that their idea is worth, consideration or implementation or so forth. Obama has no idea about health care systems. Single payer, that's not novel. European countries have single payer systems. They stink. They have single-payer systems, and so there's nothing novel about this. So you can be a backbencher politician with no accomplishments whatsoever. You get elected to the presidency, and you're just pushing the ideology. This is part of the ideology. This is part of the control mechanism. They'll always tell you, there's more people covered, there's more this, there's more that. They won't tell you how individuals are actually faring under Obamacare because it doesn't matter to them. They're rejiggering the country. They're rejiggering society. They're building their own government. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
So, Mr. Comey, 650,000 emails reviewed in 8 days. The Democrats snapped their fingers collectively, said he better get this over with, and he buckles under the pressure. He's become a national embarrassment to everybody. This should have been handled the old-fashioned way with a grand jury. You've got an obstructor and a cover-up artist in the Attorney General of the United States, as well as the Director of the FBI. What he should have done at that press conference is, if he was going to hold one, is say, we're going to recommend to the Attorney General that the department take action. If he was going to say anything. If he felt there was obstruction or cover-up, then you should go public. Just like the Saturday Night Massacre under Watergate. Unfortunately, we don't have anybody in the upper ranks of the Department of Injustice, the upper ranks, who believe in justice. Hillary Clinton gets another pass number 412. Trust me, if any of us were in the target of the Department of Justice and the FBI, this would not be happening to you and me. No, you would be in front of a grand jury. You would have to decide whether to plead the fifth. All kinds of things would be going on in your life. But not for Hillary Clinton, because they're so desperate to install her as the first woman president. Well, then she should be the first indicted woman president, the first convicted woman president, the first woman president forced to resign, or the first impeached woman president, whether they remove her in the Senate or not. Then we can have what I said last week, the first ever impeached couple, the husband and the wife. The question is, are we a republic or are we a banana republic? That's on the table in this election, too. Electing the wife of a husband. What is all this? It's bizarre. I saw the map they show where all these people are campaigning. Obama and Biden. They send Biden where the dumb voters are because he can connect. Biden is out there and Obama's out there. Hey, if you like me, vote for me. Like, you know, his ego knows no border. But then they got, Bill out there. You know who's not campaigning right now? Michelle Obama. Where's Michelle? I know, she's tending to her garden. 38-degree weather at night in the Washington, D.C. I'm tending to the apples. We got to get the apples. But anyway, she's not out there right now. I guess none of it really matters. We shall see. Let's take a call here. 1 second. Vicky, Warm Springs, Oregon, on the Mark Levin app. How are you?
Mark, how are you?
Well, thank you.
Good. Hey, I've been following you for quite a while on Twitter, and I wanted to say, first and foremost, that I voted for Obama first term. I know, my bad.
All right.
I have since changed my party, and I am now voting Republican this year. In fact, I just dropped off my ballot about 10 minutes ago. Anyway,
Yep.
This whole Obama thing, his campaigning for Hillary, it's almost hard to imagine. That
have you ever seen an incumbent president campaign like this?
No, never
Me either.
in my many, many years. No, I have never seen this.
So what turns you from a Obama supporter to the opposite?
Well, I'm a small business owner, first of all, so and the impact that I have.
And you're not selling marijuana, so you're in pretty good.
No.
You're not from Colorado. Yep.
No. I'm actually up here in Oregon, but anyway, no.
Hold on, you're a what?
I'm up in Oregon.
Oregon. No, right.
Yeah, and it's pretty much a blue state, unfortunately.
Now, you can't sell marijuana in Oregon, right? You can only use it, as nobody looks at you.
Right. Well, they are opening dispensaries up here. I guess it's on the ballot.
That's the end thing. Got to have marijuana dispensaries.
I think you're allowed to smoke it recreationally.
I see.
But
can you use the hemp to make like hats and stuff? Are you allowed to do that?
I don't know all that, Mark.
I think in
no
Hawaii
idea.
you can. Remember, Obama was a pothead. Now he's a clear-thinking.
I know. And did you see that picture floating around about his daughter at that outdoor
at the
event?
party?
She was
Yeah,
smoking.
yeah. Well, you know, like father, like daughter. All right, Vicky. Thank you for your call, my friend. God bless you. We'll be right back.
Ever notice how you come across somebody once in a while that you shouldn't have messed with? That's Mark. And you can call him at 877-381-3811.
Arming yourself with a firearm isn't just a responsibility. It's a right. And I take this right very seriously. That's why I'm a member of the USCCA, United States Concealed Carry Association. And they're dedicated to protecting responsible gun owners. I know you take your gun right seriously, too, which is why I want to let you in on something big. The USCCA wants to give you $1,600. That's $1,600 to buy one of 5 elite guns. Talking about a high-quality pistol some of us only dream of owning, like the Sig Sauer 1911 Spartan or the Smith & Wesson M&P R8. But that's only 2 of them. Head over to defendthem.com, and you can see the entire list and pick out which elite gun you'll add to your arsenal. Oh, and 95 runner-ups will each win a USCCA range bag complete with eye and ear protection. That's 100 winners total. I don't think I've ever seen better odds than that. So go get your free entry by visiting defendthem.com, where you can take home one of 5 elite guns. You've got nothing to lose. Defendthem.com. So Mr. Producer just sent me this advisory. Hillary Clinton event in Philadelphia, PA, will be available on Westwood One News Event 2 beginning at approximately 7 p.m. Hill, Bill, Chelsea Clinton will be at a rally in Philadelphia along with President Obama and Michelle Obama and Bon Jovi. Of course, that creep is always showing up. They know this. If they can get a big turnout out of Philadelphia, they'll win Pennsylvania. Philadelphia is the tail that wags the dog. There's no question about that. I know. That's where I'm from. And I also know my damn computer froze up. So they're going to go to Independence Hall and try and hijack the meaning of the Declaration of Independence. Obama usually, when he talks about the Declaration of Independence, leaves out words like divine, providence, and leaves out words like creator, stuff like that. Because Obama, being who he is, he doesn't believe rights come from God or rights come from some universal force, anything of that sort. He believes rights are determined by men and women in existence today, in power today. Let's go over this a little bit. Let's have some fun here. This is the paragraph that the left hates. They hate this paragraph. And they never read it, or very rarely, and then if they do, they twist it. It's the first paragraph. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. Now, first of all, the left would never support such a thing because they've designed, I should say redesigned our government, as they have eviscerated the Constitution. We've talked about this and I've written about this. The Constitution and the left's agenda cannot coexist. The left is about centralized power, top down, The Constitution's about federalism. The left is about nationalism. That's why I warn you folks who are caught up in this nationalism, populism, you're actually taking you're embracing the heritage of the left. Constitution's not about nationalism. It's about federalism. It's about individualism. It's about state authority with limited federal, national authority. Constitution's not about populism. It's about republicanism. When the Constitution was first adopted and ratified, you'll remember the only body directly elected by the people was the House of Representatives. And the reason is, and we've talked about this, your rights are unalienable. So they set up a constitutional system like none other before to they felt, control the movement of mankind towards centralized authoritarianism and autocracy. So 3 branches of government, specific powers, checks and balances, and, of course, state sovereignty and individual sovereignty. So when you run around saying nationalism, populism, you're undermining all that. You don't want the Second Amendment put up to a populist view. Maybe it'd win, maybe it wouldn't. That's your unalienable right. And I could go on and on. Freedom of speech isn't about nationalism or populism. It's an unalienable right enshrined in the Constitution. It's about constitutionalism. It's about individualism. So people that really don't understand this stuff, they really don't understand history, they're not trained in it, they really don't understand the Constitution, and then they blow it all off, and then they knee-jerk with their left-wing class propaganda. Sound like leftists. It's all very alluring, and it's all very disturbing. So let's go through this first paragraph again. Because Obama and the other people of his ilk are going to be there, that is Hillary and the rest, at Independence Hall. And the left always goes to Independence Hall because they want you to believe that they actually believe in what took place at Independence Hall, when in fact they don't. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, the British in that case, and to assume among the powers of the earth, the powers of the earth, not the power of man, not the power of government, the powers of the earth, the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God, this is John Locke, but I'm just pointing it out, it's in the Declaration, entitle them. That is, natural law and natural rights. Is this too much for 7:40 at night on the East Coast, Mr. Producer? I don't think so. Not this audience is smartest of the smart. Natural law. That is this moral order that we have when we're born, this moral order that we know, that we sense, and we develop it through reason, and we recognize it through human reason, right from wrong, like the golden rule and stuff like that. It can be taught, but it's more than that. Right and wrong are known to mankind. They're known to mankind, whether it's 5,000 years ago or today. How can that be? Well, they're telling you. These are natural laws. Eternal truths. Natural law, the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them. Entitle you, the individual, you. And the next paragraph. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Every one of these words, carefully chosen. What does that mean? That they're self-evident. It means they're not part of man-made law. It's because they are truths. They are self-evident truths. They are permanent, universal, eternal truths. This is what Obama and FDR and Woodrow Wilson and, yes, Theodore Roosevelt rejected in order to promote centralized government and rule by a handful of masterminds. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator. This is the part Obama usually leaves out. with certain unalienable rights. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This language is typically dismissed. It's rejected, considered quaint, unique to the time period, and so forth. But the world's more complex today, says the statist. The world is more complex. America's more complex. We have these industries. We have these technologies. We got labor forces. We got all this stuff. This is all well and good, this stuff about unalienable rights and natural law and God-given and all that quote-unquote crap. But we're busy here. We're trying to run a country. And this stuff, the Constitution, which in many ways is based on the Declaration, it's the manifestation of the principles of the Declaration. They get in the damn way. We got to create bureaucracies. We got to create departments and agencies and programs. We got to find so-called experts and professionals to run them all. They got to run health care. They got to run our financial systems. They got to design cars. They got to do all these things. Can't have all these people running around making their own decisions. All this disorganization. Into the best and the brightest. The greatest of social engineers. Then we're going to take over the schools and the culture. Simultaneous to taking over the politics, you see. And we're going to advance the notion, forget about the framers, for crying out loud, they were slave owners. Forget about what they have to say. Forget about what they wrote, or if you're going to look at what they wrote, well, twist it, turn it, pretend you're following it, but just proceed. Proceed. Thus born the social sciences. Science, if you will, applied to humanity. Maybe I'm digging a little too deeply tonight, but these are the things I think of. These are the things that are at stake. Just the continuation, the aggressive continuation of this ideology that was imported into the United States that rejects thousands of years of Western civilized thought. And that has been imposed on us in what I call a counter-revolution that overturned the American Revolution. All right, I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Hillary Clinton's maid, as you no doubt heard by now, Paul Sperry's a great reporter, New York Post, directed her maid to print out classified materials. Well, now, was her maid read into the program? Did she have a clearance? No. You see what Hillary Clinton and her clan, and you see what Mr. Comey have done to the rule of law. They've made a mockery of it. Now, that doesn't mean it won't be applied to you. You bet it will be. It'll be applied to you. But it won't be applied to her. This is unbelievable to me, what this country has become. And it's going to get worse, and we are going to have a constitutional crisis. I pointed that out before anybody, and it's true. To the extent there's a constitution left to deal with this, frankly. This is incredible to me. It's incredible to me that there's tens of millions of people who are going to vote for this woman. Oh, she's the first woman. Shut the hell up. When Sarah Palin would have been the first female vice president, I don't remember this idiot Josh Earnest saying, hey, even the framers of the Constitution never contemplated such a thing, and they never contemplated a jerk like you either. Well, here we are. You know, I can't believe it's fall. I love the fall. And this year's flying by. It's only going to get crazier and colder these next few days. Now, maybe I'll sleep on my Casper mattress and hibernate till spring. Actually, that would be a good thing. But I don't hibernate more than 3 or 4 hours, so there's no point to that. Anyway, Casper's one perfect mattress that helps maintain the right body temperature so you don't get overheated. It's high-tech foams. It's 2 high-tech foams. Provide all the comfort and support you need, guaranteeing you get the best night's sleep ever. I don't know what it is. It's the high-tech foams or something else. It's an incredible mattress. Incredible mattress. In fact, Time Magazine named it one of the best inventions of 2015. It ships for free in a box so small you won't believe it holds a mattress. It's true. And you can try your Casper mattress for 100 nights, absolutely risk-free. And they started this in the industry. If you don't love it, they'll pick it up and refund you everything. Free. So take your mattress, lean it up against the wall, get your Casper. It's 100 nights free. Try it out. And I know you're going to love it. Go to Casper.com, use code MARK, so you get $50 towards the purchase of your mattress. That's Casper.com, code MARK, $50 towards the purchase of your mattress. Casper.com, terms and conditions apply. I'll tell you something. I told you we have 6 of these, and I got one for Barney, who has a bad back, my dog. Well, there's other members of my family. Their backs are kind of messed up, one in particular. And he's used to one of these Tempur-Pedic mattresses, Mr. Producer. I think that's what you call it. But I got a Casper. And he said, no, I need the Tempur-Pedic. I've got he's got a back issue. I said, no, I want you to try the Casper. He tried the Casper. He loves the Casper. Loves the Casper. And it costs a hell of a lot less than the other one. This isn't just hype. I'm serious. I use that mattress. So I hope you'll check it out. I really do. I know you're going to love it. Casper.com. Casper.com. Make sure you use my name, Mark, so you get $50 towards the purchase. So Hillary Clinton's maid has access to your classified information. What next? The milkman? Well, there used to be milkman, but not anymore. Well, let's see. What's next? The UPS guy? The FedEx guy? Who else has access? Hillary, what is she doing? Dropping it from helicopters? Hey, look what I have. Nobody's going to prosecute me. I made a mistake. Look here. I made a mistake. Who wants? She disgusts me. Amy, Colorado Springs, Colorado, how are you? KVOR, our great affiliate.
Hey, great to talk to you, Mark. Thank you for taking my call and for all you do.
Yes, thank you.
I just want to let you know it's crazy here in my state. The candidate, at least Pence and Mr. Trump have been out here quite a bit. I'm in El Paso County, kind of more conservative.
Right.
But I can see my husband and I have been here for about 4 or 5 years for military, and I can see where it's swung a little more blue. But we're working hard out here, and I still have some friends who are voting for Mrs. Clinton. And, to be honest, I do still.
They're still your friends?
With them. Yeah, they're still my friends.
Well, they're drones, though. If you've used all the arguments, they're still voting for her. They're drones. That's what they are.
Yeah.
No offense.
And, but I'm really hoping that Colorado comes through for Mr. Trump. I know his rallies have been big out here.
Well, he needs it. He needs it.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe all the potheads will get confused and they'll show up Wednesday.
Yeah, maybe. You never know.
I'm voting early for 2020. All right, Amy. Thank you for your call, my friend. We have a lot of great calls. Hang in there, everybody. As you can imagine, the call board is loaded. We do have one special guest in the next hour, and I wanted to talk to him. It's a man who's put his life on the line for this country, lost both of his legs. He's running for the United States Congress in Florida. His opponent has made an enormous amount of money through natural disasters, in some cases overcharging towns. This guy shouldn't be running for Congress. He should be running from Congress. And he says to Brian Mast, the great hero I'm talking about, during a debate, "Why don't you act like a man?" he says to him. You believe this? That and a ton more in our final hour. I'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, everybody. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. The biggest loser in this election, of course, are the media. Their the veneer, their camouflage is all gone. We'll be talking about that in the weeks and months ahead, too. Specific reporters, specific news agencies, but most of them, not all, but most of them, are utterly corrupt. This guy, Dana Milbank, who's a nasty piece of work over there at the Washington Compost, he was exposed today. This guy, Glenn Thrash at Politico, he's been exposed. So many others have been exposed. Just pathetic and disgusting. CNN really has shown itself to be what it is, among others. During the course of the past few weeks on this program, we've done what we could in some of these races. I just want to remind you. We had Darrell Glenn on the program of Colorado. He's running for the Senate. He's a great guy. We strongly endorse him. Joe Miller of Alaska. You'll notice I take the hard ones. Joe Miller of Alaska has a shot. He could slip in a four-person race. Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, I don't always agree with the man, but he's no Russ Feingold, and that's good enough for me. He's 1 or 2 points behind. The people of Wisconsin, you folks are going to have to step up and decide what you want. Marco Rubio in Florida, this guy Pat Murphy, is a pathological liar. He's a hardcore leftist, and my strongest opposition goes to him because of his vocal support for the Iran deal. And I think Marco Rubio, except for his Gang of Eight, has demonstrated he's a very solid conservative. I'm not apologizing for it, but I'm saying that's the reality in Florida. This guy, Pat Murphy's 33 years old, 34 years old, and he'll be there for 30 years, so he needs to be beaten now. Scott Garrett is running in New Jersey. This is a race that is very important to me. It's a tough race. It's leaning Democrat. So you folks in his district, you need to turn out big time and turn back the really disgusting behavior of the Clintonoid who is running, the empty suit, who's loaded with money, and the National Republican Congressional Committee didn't spend one penny on his campaign. That's due to Paul Ryan and Kevin McCarthy and this guy Steve Scalise, and we'll revisit that one day too. Brian Mast will be on the program soon. He's running in Florida. This is a really top-notch guy. We as a country say we always back our heroes. Well, this is a hero running against a sleazeball. This is even a close call. Mike Pence, several times, 2 or 3 times, has been on the program, and he's an old buddy of mine. He'd be an outstanding vice president. And I've also endorsed, and I want to make it clear, Barbara Comstock in Virginia's 10th, running against another radical, rich buffoon, who's the former wife of another buffoon, this guy Moran. Remember that jerk Moran? Used to get in fist fights, heavy boozer, and all the rest of it? Yeah, that guy. That's his ex-wife. She has lived in Washington, D.C. She decided she wanted to run for Congress, so she sets up a residence, an apartment in Virginia's 10th district, and is running, and we'll see how that turns out. Comstock is far superior to, what is her name? Luann Bennett, for crying out loud. And there's others. A lot of important races. Your congressional districts, your states. Obviously, the presidential race is very, very important. And, now, the debate is over. It's gut check time. It's gut check time for those people who still haven't made up their minds. I don't know what else left to make up your mind. I really don't. It's a plebiscite. Either support Hillary or you don't. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. And if you don't, the only one that has the possibility to beat her is Donald Trump. And by the way, on Levin TV tonight, you're going to love Levin TV tonight. I think it's my longest Levin TV ever. It's the pre-election show. Pre-election show to the big day tomorrow. And I get into a whole lot of stuff. I get into history and philosophy. I get into the issues, where Trump stands, where Hillary stands, and so forth. And I don't think the crew ever thought I was going to finish, but I needed to finish. So you'll see it's like 70 minutes, uninterrupted. Now tell me truthfully, is there anybody else that can do that on TV? You want to join us? This is the show to really come and watch before the election. 844-LEVIN TV, 844-LEVIN TV. It's part of our great new conservative network, Conservative Review TV. When it's all said and done, there will be a conservative TV network, and it'll be ours. So join us. Join our community. Check out tonight's show. It is a big deal, I think. And I did it specifically for this election. It's not your typical type show and so forth. I know you're going to love it. I really do. 844-LEVIN, or go to crtv.com, and click through. But if you call 844-LEVIN TV, we've got wonderful people who are there to help you. They'll tell you how to watch it, where you can watch it, how to set it up, and get you going, okay? I know you're going to like it. Ask the people who already have it. They love it. Father Mark, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the great WNTP. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, Mark, and it's a great joy to talk to you.
Thank you.
Two quick points. I'm a Catholic priest here in Philadelphia. My first point is, I just want to thank you. I mean, I don't know how many people, I know people are constantly thanking you, but I want to thank you because I've listened to you since 2007, just about every night almost every show. And especially also in this election, in all these months leading up to the election, you've just been rock solid. I mean, you have not wavered in your principles. You have not been blown by the winds of popular opinion or this or that. You've just been, I mean, I was trying to think of what I could compare you to. You're like a lighthouse. I mean, you're a lighthouse. You give light to everybody who listens to you. And I just wanted to thank you for that because it's just enormous. I mean, you have defended the rights of the unborn so tremendously, you know, the pro-life movement. Oh, my, I mean, it's just amazing. It's just amazing.
You are very kind, and coming from you, that you made my night. That means a great deal, Father.
Oh, my gosh, you're welcome. And my second point was, I know there's a lot of people in this country who are going to bed very anxious tonight. And I just wanted to tell them, and I want to tell you also, do not be afraid. I mean, because God, the power of God is with us. I mean, the thing, I've seen miracles. I know what God can do. And, you know, God took down the Pharaoh at the Red Sea, right? He took him down. I mean, and for God, nothing is hard, right? Nothing is hard for God. So just to all my friends out there, you know, who are going to vote for Trump tomorrow and vote for all the other good Republicans out there, just go to sleep peaceful, right? Just say your prayers, go to sleep peaceful, vote tomorrow, you know, for the Republican candidate, for Trump. And then just what I was going to do also tomorrow is I was going to pray all day long and also fast. Because, I mean, the power of fasting is very great. And when you give up food for a day, you just drink water. God, takes that very seriously. It's in the Bible. It's all over the place. So if anyone wants to do that, I would just encourage them to pray and fast. Because even like in the Old Testament, in the book of Jonah, when the Ninevites fasted, God had mercy upon them. You know, and so if we fast, if we pray, God will have mercy upon us too. But thank you, brother, and God bless you.
God bless you, Father. I really, really appreciate that. What a wonderful call. You take care of yourself. I appreciate that. How do you like that? Wonderful, wonderful man. Thank you. Maria, San Lorenzo, California, the great KSFO. Go.
Good evening, and thank you so much for taking my call. And I just wanted to say thank you, too, because you have been so helpful in me having conversations with family, friends. And I was actually in the blue zone, and after a term of Obama, I changed my mind. So
you were in the blue zone, so you were a liberal Democrat. You can say it, and you changed your mind. Now, what caused you? What was it that changed your mind? Yeah.
Hello?
What changed your mind?
Well, honestly, the way that the country is going, unfortunately, Mark, no, we don't have that much coverage here of the real deal, per se, in the local channels. So unless you watch or listen to, like, radio stations like yours, you have no way of knowing. I mean, we're like shelter from reality, to be honest.
Yeah, San
But
Francisco.
I tell you what, a lot of people have changed their minds, and they're actually voting. And I hate to say this, but it's so true because I know about 12 people who are voting for Trump, but they're not sharing that information with too many people. I'm Hispanic, and I tell you what, it really bothers me that Clinton says women, professional women, will not vote for him because I am supposed to be offended. I'm not. I am offended by the fact that she has done and gotten away with so many things. That I am offended by.
Yep. Well, listen, Maria, greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much. You take care of yourself. Let's continue. Let's go to William, Long Island, New York, the great WABC. Go.
Hey, Mark. How are you? Thank you so much for taking my call. Very
my
much
pleasure.
Listen, I'm a TV film graduate. I just got out of Hofstra University, which is basically Lib Center. But I must say, as a TV film guy, Levin TV is absolutely wonderful. It's such a well-constructed show, and it's so much better than any other crooked media you could find out there.
So thank you.
No, very, very, very good. I just wanted to call and just make a couple points. I just wanted to say, I'm going out and voting tomorrow, and I'm praying all I can, and it's this feeling of, I'm 22, I'm just getting started, I'm just starting to pay taxes, I'm just starting to experience the adult life, and it's like this country's just going, I don't know where it's going, and it's like I feel like if Hillary wins, God forbid, when are we going to have another Republican ever in power? I mean, all these refugees will be voting for her, and all these people she'll let across the border. I mean, we're really, it's a very dim future. But you know what? I've been saying all day. I've been saying, all my friends have like hashtag I'm with her and stuff. You know what? I'm with him, and with him, I don't mean Trump. I mean with the Lord God Almighty. So, I hope, and I thank you so much for all you do. I listen to you every day on the way home, and it helps me. It cleanses me from New York City. That's where I work.
Well, thank you.
And
if you're with God, you're with the right one.
I agree so much. And please just keep doing what you're doing over at Levin TV. I'm so excited for your new channel, too. It's great. So thank you so much for all you do. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, my brother. You take care of yourself. You take care. Let me slip in one more here, Rich. Kevin, Kathleen, Florida, Sirius Satellite, retired military. How are you, sir?
Yes, sir. Hey, first off, I'm going to tell you, Mark, you are the campfire my family and I sit around to listen to at night.
Oh, my goodness.
I got a 9-year-old
I should listen
daughter.
to this hour again. Yeah, go right ahead. I'm sorry.
I got a 9-year-old daughter, and thanks to you, she asks questions after every show.
Wonderful.
I've got an 11-year-old. She asks questions. So it gives me you're a voice of freedom to my family, and I thank you, and I thank you for continuing the fight that I'm no longer able to fight. But I got to say something.
Yes, sir.
I got to say something that strikes deep. Hillary Clinton allowed for the men and women in Benghazi to be left there because it was politically advantageous for her at the time. Who thinks for 1 second that this evil would not do the same to the sons and daughters of this great nation should she send them to war?
Yeah, I think she's cold. I think she's cold-blooded. I really do. I think she is a nihilist. People don't know what that is. Look it up. I think she's definitely a nihilist. And I'll even go further. I think she's a sociopath. I'm very serious about this. It's all about her. She doesn't have empathy for anybody. I don't care what she says. It's just the way she lives her life. Really, in her own personal life, has she ever done anything for anybody?
Never.
Never.
Mark, I have one more question for you.
Yes, sir.
when are you coming back down to Florida? Like I said, I got my 9-year-old daughter. And when we moved out of liberal Washington State, she cried because she left her Proverbs for Young People in the trailer.
Oh, I'll take care of that, for crying out loud. Don't hang up. We have that. My dad would love to give it to. What's your daughter's first name?
Leah, L-I-A-H.
Yeah, he'll love to give it to her. And where is Kathleen, Florida, may I ask? What's it near?
Closer to Lakeland, but I'm an hour, give or take, north of the Tampa, VA.
Okay. All right, man. Well, don't hang up. We'll grab your address. That's easy. Best to you and your family, and thank you for your service. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
I forgot to mention that maybe I forgot, we had Toomey on the program too, and I'm going to say this about my home state of Pennsylvania. State I love a great deal. You're either going to elect Toomey to the Senate, who is a solid senator, or you're going to elect this radical nut job. It's as if the Democrats this election cycle said, let us get as many radical nut jobs as we can to run. You got a radical nut job running in Florida. You got a radical nut job running in Wisconsin. You have a radical nut job running in Pennsylvania, a radical nut job running in New Hampshire. They're not even moderate Democrats. They are way out kook fringe. Way out kook fringe. I've never seen people like this. So many of them all at once coming at us. And you have great vets. I mean, Darrell Glenn in Colorado. He's a veteran. I noticed Josh Earnest and Barack Obama are campaigning for Darrell Glenn, saying he could be the first black senator from Colorado. You notice that, Mr. Producer? Yeah, they don't care about that. He's a conservative. Who cares? Then it doesn't matter. They're two-faced. This is the left. This is what they do all the time. They're only worried about firsts if it involves their agenda. Yeah, they are disgusting. Anthony, Scranton, Pennsylvania, the great WTRW. Go!
Hi, Mark Levin.
Hello, Anthony.
Hi, I'm wondering about when Trey Gotti was interviewing James Comey, and he was asking him, was there classified emails, and he responded, yes, there are 3, and he kept going on to ask him other questions. How does Hillary get out of all this now? How are they just letting her go after him?
I'll tell you how they got out of it, because James Comey is a hack and an obstructionist. And I hold no special brief for him. I thought what he did last week was compelled by what he did in July. And then to rush along this investigation of 650,000 emails is appalling. He changed the statute. The statute says gross negligence. He changed it to specific intent under the Espionage Act. I believe she had specific intent to violate it because she had specific intent to evade it. That's not specific intent. I don't know what is. That said, the standard is lower. It's gross negligence. He decided he was going to protect Hillary, and that's exactly what he did. I'll be right back.
The new American Revolution starts here. The Mark Levin Show. Call in at 877-381-3811.
Now, I could be way, way off. I'm not in the prediction business, but there's something about the possibility of this electoral college issue where she wins the popular vote and he wins or comes close on the electoral college. It just keeps sticking in my craw, Mr. Producer. You know, I've been inching up to this for months, right? We've talked about the process many, many times now. Well, we'll see. Anyway, Hillsdale College. You know, the whole world is watching the outcome of the presidential election because the office is the most powerful in the world. But the powers of the presidency are limited. They're restrained by the Constitution. Recently, sadly, the restraints were breached. Think numerous executive orders, executive agencies, and the usurping of power from the other two branches. The only hope in restoring the proper role of the new president is for the people to demand it. That starts with your knowing what the Constitution says, obviously. Right now, you can go to levinforhillsdale.com, Levin for Hillsdale.com, register for a timely free online course brought back for a limited time by Hillsdale College, the Presidency and the Constitution. Every citizen needs to take it. You'll learn in 10 short lessons the original purpose of the executive branch and how the Constitution limits its power. You see, the Founding Fathers gave the real power to we the people. But if Americans don't know what the Constitution says, how will we hold our president accountable? Show the world that we'll help restore the office of the presidency the way it was meant to be. Register right now. Go to levinforhillsdale.com. That's Levin for Hillsdale.com. It's a pleasure to have back, one more time before tomorrow's election, our friend Brian Mast, who's running in Florida. What is it, District 19, is that it?
You're close. District 18.
Well, yes. District 18, Congressional District 18. I have a personal interest in this one. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing very well. I'm counting down the days, counting down the hours, getting ready to get back in the fight early tomorrow morning.
What are the last words you have to say on this program to your folks in District 18 and all over the country? What do you want them to know about this election?
To get out and vote. Get out and vote. This is about the future of our country, and I know I don't have to tell you this, but I do want to tell it to everybody that's listening. You know, are we going to be a country that's loyal to our Constitution? Are we going to continue to respect our rule of law? Are we going to be a country of liberty, or are we going to let the federal government control all of our liberties? Are we going to be justice for all, or let political elites be above being just and above a just society? Are we going to be strong and unapologetic, or are we going to allow ourselves to be led into mediocrity? This is the direction that we're fighting for right now. So get out and vote. Bring your friends out to vote. Bring your coworkers out to vote. Get people out there and fight for this country.
You know, you raise a very, very good point. We have millions of people listening. Now, if they would each bring a couple of people with them, people that wouldn't typically come with them, get on the phone and make the calls, we would have an army of precinct workers. It would just take, 30 minutes, maybe less than that, and really, really make a difference, and the pollsters aren't going to even catch it, are they?
Get them out there, exactly what you said. You know, you're in your synagogue, in your church, in your prayer group, wherever you can find them. Make people care. Make people understand that they need to go out there. They have to pay attention. And this is their future, their children's future, their grandchildren's future. This is it. We have to do it. We have to fight.
Brian Mast running in the 18th Congressional District in Florida. How's it shaping up for you? Do you have any sense for that?
You know, for whatever stock that you put into polling, it looks good. I try not to pay attention to any polls, even if they are positive. I believe that you got to fight like you are in last place until the last second of anything. You got to run through the finish line, and that's the way that I do it. So I do have a certain sense of confidence about it because I know that I've done everything that I could for the last 17 months to try to get onto this battlefield again and go out there and be somebody that can fight for everything that I believe in as a part of this country. I've left it all on the field, so to say, so I have a confidence in that, but I'm not going to let it allow me to be overconfident. They're going to get everything they can out of me until the last hour tomorrow, until they call it.
Now, he was flooding the zone with massive numbers of ads when I was down there visiting my parents 2 weekends in a row. It was nonstop. Have you been able to duke it out pretty well in the final hours?
You know, I have. The answer is we always need more support. But in that, it's going to be one of those things that allows the victory to be that much sweeter. When I consider how nasty, how negative my opponent has been, how down on veterans he's been, when I consider, the ways that he's done everything he could to essentially purchase himself the nomination through the primary process and now try to purchase this election in the general election, it's going to make it that much more of a victory when we are celebrating tomorrow evening.
Brian Mast, you've got my full support. I wish you all the best, and we'll know soon. And the people in the 18th have a wonderful opportunity to have a wonderful congressman. I wish you all the best.
I wish you the best, too.
All right. God bless. Our buddy Scott Garrett, New Jersey, all these wonderful candidates, Barbara Comstock, Virginia, And they're not alone. There's others. You really got to turn out. I want to talk to you briefly about tomorrow when you go to vote, those of you who haven't voted yet, as I will go to vote tomorrow too. Let's put personalities aside, okay? Let's put the primary aside. Let's put all the internecine warfare aside. I believe when people look back in this time in our history, they're going to be very saddened by what they see. The idea that we're going to elect the wife of an impeached president who has the stench of felony all over her, who has used her office to enrich herself and her friends, was violated our national security by intentionally skirting the Espionage Act, and that's just the beginning, is unconscionable to me. That we will put the country through this. There's an enormous amount at stake. Maybe even if we do the right thing, there's still an enormous amount at stake. The Clintons and the Obamas are in Philadelphia at Independence Hall. They have no reverence for what took place at Independence Hall, whether it was the Declaration or the Constitution, none whatsoever. None. I just want to say this to you. There are many things at stake, substantively, in this election. This election in which Hillary Clinton must be defeated. And the only way she can be defeated is to vote for Donald Trump, period. The Second Amendment's at stake. The right to bear arms. The First Amendment's at stake. Religious liberty and freedom of speech. Believe me when I tell you, freedom of speech. It's at stake. Due process is at stake. Because the left only believes in due process when it comes to mass murders and terrorists. Property rights under the Fifth Amendment. Property rights are at stake. They're going to unleash the EPA in ways we can't even conceive. The whole notion of federalism and state authority will finally be crushed. Separation of powers, which goes to the core of the Constitution, violated repeatedly, daily, by Barack Obama. Clinton has already said she's going to build on that. She's going to do everything she can out of the Oval Office. The bureaucracy will get more and more powerful and bigger. There's a piece here by CNS News. Government workers now outnumber manufacturing workers by almost 10 million. Something's wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Something's terribly wrong. You will see our national sovereignty sent overseas to international organizations and to the United Nations, further degrading our ability to live in a representative republic. More deals that are actually treaties like the one you saw with Iran. Absolutely appalling. Our enemies will be very excited by a Hillary Clinton election, and they will take every advantage of it. What's at stake? Our economy is at stake. Hillary Clinton wants $1.4 to $1.5 trillion increase. And if you think that's coming from the quote-unquote rich, you're wrong. Hillary Clinton thinks Obamacare is pretty good. All we need to do is tighten it up and increase penalties and mandates against younger people and others who don't fall in line. She'll put the final nail in the coffin of our health care system. She's always wanted to do this. This is her obsession. And if you think it's difficult to win an election tomorrow, because it is winnable tomorrow, in 4 years, it'll be almost impossible. They want to turn the United States into California. California, which once had the greatest economy, the vibrancy, people wanted to move there from all over the country. Now, people are leaving in droves. Illegal aliens are flooding in. It's a one-party state, and it is iron-fisted leftist state, increasingly a police state. That's the future. Hillary Clinton will shut down fracking. Hillary Clinton is bought and paid for by the teachers' unions, so you'll see no progress in education, none. She will drive up the cost of the minimum wage, which means putting young kids out of work, particularly minorities in the inner city. They'll never get a chance to get that first leg on the first rung of the ladder. It won't happen. Our police departments will continue to be brutalized. Our military will continue to be eviscerated. Because this is who she is. This is what she believes in. Trump, apart from trade, with his tariff regime and everything, Trump is running one of the most conservative campaigns. Yes, he is. In recent presidential elections. He's for school choice. Like no presidential candidate I've ever seen. He's for across-the-board tax cuts, slashing these brutal regulations. Completely the opposite of what Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama are doing. He wants to secure the border, and he will deport 2 million violent criminals in this country and visa violators. That used to be the norm. That used to be the norm. That's nothing to fear. Nothing radical about it. He's made clear that he will appoint to the Supreme Court constitutional conservatives. He's even given us their names. Whereas Hillary Clinton has made clear that she will put radical law professor types on the court. Well, we'll never win. And the Constitution will be finally blown to pieces. Trump wants to build up the military. You see what Hillary and her ilk have done to the military. Trump stands with law enforcement. Hillary stands with Black Lives Matter. Write down the list, ladies and gentlemen. Write down the list. As a constitutional conservative, as a man who campaigned for Ronald Reagan in 1976 against Gerald Ford, in 1980 against the Bushes and the rest of them, who served in his administration for 8 years, I want to tell you something. No, Trump is no Ronald Reagan. But he's also no John McCain or Mitt Romney. His policies are actually more solid than theirs. Can he be relied on? Maybe. Maybe not. But he starts from a better place. Can Hillary Clinton be relied on? You better believe it. You better believe it. Yes, America will be here tomorrow. But what kind of America? How much more can we take? We don't ever seem to be able to reverse course. We don't ever seem to be able to get rid of their programs or their departments or their agencies. Now, do we? Can you name one? Can you name one? And once she has control over the courts, Obama's appointed about 40%. She will appoint about 40% too. They'll control all the branches of government, even the fourth branch, the administrative state. This is an important election. We will cover it here live tomorrow evening. On the West Coast, starting at 3 p.m. On the East Coast, starting at 6 p.m. as usual. Some of the states will be coming in during the course of this program. I hope you'll stick with me, because I will discuss it like nobody else can. And if you're worried, well, we'll do this together. We'll do this together. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
State Department tells court it needs 5 years to review deleted Clinton emails. You sick and tired of this, folks? You've had enough? You really want to bring this family back into the Oval Office? I mean, seriously. Do you want me to say tomorrow night, well, it looks like Hillary Clinton has won? Well, you're in control of this. All of you people listening to me, there are millions of you. On terrestrial radio, on satellite radio, all over digital, on the Mark Levin app, on the iHeartRadio app. You know what you need to do. You got to stop her. This is damage control. This is for your kids and grandkids. you'll be able to say you did the right thing. It's very, very important. Very, very important. I can tell you that the left is turning out, that the balkanizers are turning out, that the people who want to raise your taxes, they're turning out, and they're going to be in line tomorrow right with you. They're going to be standing all around you. So get your family members and your friends and coworkers out. You can all be precinct workers. 3 or 4 votes. That's what you need to bring to the polls. 3 or 4. Just get on the phone when I'm done, and I'll be done soon, and call them and say, come on, let's go. And if they're out of the state, say, you got to do it. We also have a Senate to hold on to, and we have a lot of congressmen to elect. This is it. We'll deal with the Republican Party after the election. I promise you we'll do it together. We'll deal with whatever comes after the election. And you don't want to miss it here on this program. We're going to do it all live tomorrow. Big changes are happening all around us. The color of the leaves. The Cubs won the World Series. Now we have the election tomorrow. Here's the problem. You still have the same old tire blinds hanging from your window since W was in office. It's time you try Blinds.com. I've been telling you about them for a while for a reason. You know, they make ordering online easy. Their design consultants will answer your questions and walk you through every step of the self-installation process for free. Their 100% satisfaction guarantee means even if you mismeasure or pick the wrong color, they'll remake your blinds for free. You want samples free, shipping free. Get made-to-order custom blinds without paying custom blinds at custom blind prices at Blinds.com today. It is a great product with great service. And now through November 21st, use promo code Levin, L-E-V-I-N, when you buy 3 blinds. You'll get the 4th free. The offer ends November 21st. Go to Blinds.com, use promo code Levin when you buy 3 blinds, and your 4th blind is free. Blinds.com, promo code Levin. Rules and restrictions may apply. See Blinds.com for details. Okay, how much time do I have left, Rich? 35 seconds. You don't need me to tell you, folks, what needs to be done. The fate of the country is in your hands. It's that simple. Good luck to us tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute our armed forces, police officers, firefighters, and emergency personnel. And if you're going to watch Levin TV, this really is the night to watch it. LevinTV.com. And I'll see you on the radio for the election, live coverage right here. I'm Mark Levin.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, everybody. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811. 877-381-3811. Well, I don't know what to expect tomorrow. You read University of Virginia, Larry Sabato, it's over. A massive defeat, electoral college-wise. Meanwhile, you look at some of these other prognosticators. 538. Nate Silver's the guy's name. He says one state moves and it's possible Trump wins the Electoral College. We can get into these later. Maybe, maybe not. But here's what I want to tell you. And I touched on this Friday, but it requires a little bit more attention here. Florida, North Carolina, Virginia, Colorado, and New Hampshire. You know, ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't long ago we used to call those red states. Now we call them battleground states. What's happened in Florida, North Carolina, Virginia, Colorado? Not so much in New Hampshire. You have people in Massachusetts moving to New Hampshire. You know, this is a typical problem where leftist Democrats destroy their own state, then they move into a red state, and they vote to destroy that state. They can't help themselves. But how in the world did Florida, North Carolina, Virginia, and Colorado become purple states? And the answer is unbridled immigration. North Carolina's gotten the worst of it. Virginia's in the top 10. Colorado was targeted 10 years ago and flipped. And Florida's being overwhelmed now. You can't win office the presidency if you keep losing states, whether it's the popular vote or the electoral college vote. Arizona, they were concerned about that a few weeks ago. They were concerned about Georgia. That appears to have moved back. These things aren't just happening. All of a sudden, the American people are liberals. Well, there are a lot of them. This is a concerted, strategic model that they've put in place, funded by billionaires, Soros, but he's not the only one, to change the citizenry of the country. And if Hillary Clinton's elected, you can bet she's going to put her foot down on the gas pedal. She's already talked about legalizing people who are here illegally. Well, that's the step that precedes citizenship. It's that simple. And they will do that, and if they take the Senate, there'll be almost nothing to stop them. And Obama showed it away. Soft fascism. Just use really cool language, talk about the people, talk about rights, talk about our history, pervert it, but talk about it. Smile. You go on, MTV and do stuff like that, and you get away with it. Texas. I fear what Texas is going to be 10 years from now. It doesn't take much. We don't even compete in California anymore for the presidency. The state that gave us Ronald Reagan, 2 massive landslides. The state that even won in 1988 for George H.W. Bush. There's no chance now. No chance. Well, what happened in 20, 25 years? What happened is that the Democrat Party, using immigration, demographics, has conquered state after state. You know full well, if people coming into this country were voting Republican, they would build a wall on the southern border. You know that full well. If you understand the mindset of the left, even those who are unwittingly part of it, the mindset of the leaders of the left, whether they be politicians or bureaucrats or academics or what have you, the mindset is the law doesn't matter. The Constitution doesn't matter. Process, procedures, they just don't matter. We are on a righteous campaign. History is behind us. We're in a righteous campaign to create paradise here in America. And that means bulldozing the Constitution, bulldozing capitalism, bulldozing individualism. We don't care where these votes come from. We just need them. It's not about the people. It's about the elitists. It's about the rulers. We've got to make sure that our rule isn't temporary, that our rule is not subject to election cycles, that our rule is permanent, and that our changes are permanent. Well, as permanent as we want them to be. We can constantly change them, but we have to change them in a way that moves them in our trajectory, in our direction. What makes me different than a lot of these conservatives you see on TV and radio, a lot of them that you hear, what makes me different in radio is this isn't surface stuff for me. This isn't rah-rah, rocket stuff for me, bim, boom, bop. I understand fundamentally what's going on, and so do you. This isn't an election, it's a war. A war over politics. That's what it is. The left gets violent over it. We don't get violent over it. They get violent over it. This is a battle between traditional principles, traditional beliefs, traditional values, based in faith and family and country. That's us. Versus a battle on the other side, which believes in concentrated, centralized power, which believes that individual free will gets into the way of the great plans that the planners have. You may like your private property, but they have targeted your private property. You may like your health care, but they have targeted your health care. And on down the road. And there's never going to be any end to this. If you've read the first chapter of Ameritopia, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There can never be the end of this. They will never have a final plan, not a governing document. We won't know when there's success. We won't know when we've achieved nirvana because we never will. Endless torment, endless regulations, endless taxation, endless harassment. And the more independent you are, the more aggressive they will be in putting you down. The more successful you are, the more of your success, whether it's material or otherwise, they intend to take from you. This isn't just an election. This is about the future. And I don't need to be lectured, and neither do you, about Donald Trump's problems and issues and foibles. This is not the time for that. He is the vessel through whom we seek to slow what's happening to the country. It's that simple. And tomorrow when you vote, you're going to be standing in line with people who are going to be voting to further destroy our constitutional republic, to further open the borders, to further vote to take the money you earn for your family and your retirement, to take it from you, to further vote to trash the police departments in this country, to further vote to eviscerate the military. They're going to vote for the soft tyranny that's become the Democrat Party. While we have people on our side dancing on the head of a pin. Well, we have people on our side saying, no, come on now. They don't even get it, in my opinion. And by the way, even if Hillary is stopped tomorrow, their push is never going to stop. They are resolute. These people have resolve. Whereas too many of us surrender. People on TV and radio saying after the election, I'm giving up. It's all over. We're going to talk about meatballs and, pastry. And really? It's not what my father and mother taught me. I think about my grandfather fighting on Iwo Jima and Guam and my great-uncle fighting on Guadalcanal. I think about those young men and women in hellhole after hellhole. They have to say, I lose Tuesday, let's move on. Move on to what? Move on to what? Alexis de Tocqueville talked about this. The rules and the regulations and the beating down of the people. Beat them down, beat them down, beat them down until they're exhausted. Until they've lost any motivation, any free will, any independence. And then they go to the polls and they vote as if they have some control over their life. We can't keep fighting the primary, folks. The election is in what? Well, where I live, it's less than 12 hours it starts. In Virginia. We have to fight the other side now. I don't know if it's too late or not. I just don't know. It may well be, but I can't worry about that, and neither can you. Not when we're trying to get people to vote. You can find whatever poll you want. You can find that it's really, really close, that Hillary's going to win in a landslide. By the way, nobody says Trump's going to win in a landslide. I have a story here that the Hispanic vote surge could shake up the presidential election. This is from Fox Latino. Didn't even know there was a Fox Latino, but there is. Story in the Weekly Standard, the Senate is breaking toward the GOP late, odd show. I don't think anybody really knows with all this early voting. I think it's tough to know. But I know we don't have some great lead. Nobody says that. Nobody says that. You and I, we're what's left, truthfully, of the voices of the founders. We're it. Even among some conservatives, even among talk show hosts and TV hosts, they've abandoned it. They ridicule them. They ridicule those of us who talk about it. We're it. Us. That's it. Nobody else seems to care. After this election, we're not going to throw our arms in the air no matter who's elected and talk about things that don't matter. There's thousands and thousands of radio stations in this country where most of them talk about things that don't matter. No, you and I, we're going to need to figure this out and plan for the next day. Depending on what happens. If Trump wins and we hold the Senate, we're going to have to come up with one battle plan. If he loses, and let's say we lose the Senate, we're going to have to come up with another one. But those of us who have children and grandchildren know we can't just go into the closet and lock the door and pretend nothing happened. No matter how dark or bleak it might get, and it may not, we have to deal with it. That's what we do. That's what we Americans do. If Donald Trump wins, we're going to have fights on our hands with the Democrats, with the left, with the media, and with him. If Hillary Clinton wins, it's all hands on deck. Because that's a battle between liberty and tyranny. It just flat out is. It's all hands on deck. And I don't care what the media says. We all need to get along. We all need to work together. We all need to have bipartisanship. The left never does that. Obama has torn this country apart. He has torn this country apart. And Hillary Clinton will do exactly the same thing. And on top of all the rest, she's a liar. She's corrupt. In my view, she's a crook. And she should be prosecuted. But because Mr. Comey is a truly bizarre man, clearly unfit to be the director of the FBI, as I said back in July. But he's bouncing here, bouncing there. He responds to political pressure and so forth. He's way out of his league. Way out of his league. If Hillary Clinton's elected, she will not be indicted. She just won't. She'll be above the law. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
So here is the most dire one. Washington Times. Hillary Clinton is poised to become the 45th president of the United States, and Democrats are on the verge of capturing control of the Senate, according to the final pre-election predictions from the University of Virginia Center for Politics. The forecast from Sabato, Klondike, and Skelly shows Mrs. Clinton defeating Trump by 322 to 216 margin in the Electoral College. The Democrats will gain control of the Senate by flipping control of 4 seats and winning the White House, giving the vice president the tie-breaking vote. They also predict the Democrats will pick up 13 seats in the House. In their analysis, Trump will emerge victorious in the swing states of Iowa and Ohio. When did Ohio become a swing state, for God's sakes? But will come up short in Colorado, Nevada, Florida, New Hampshire, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those 6 states used to be solid Republican. 5 of them. I won't tell you who he thinks going to lose. I don't want to influence that process. And then we have this. If I can find it. Let's see. We have the Nate Silver Group, former New York Times writer, supposed to be a genius on this stuff. He says one state moves and Trump can win the Electoral College. Now, I'll take a look. We'll take a look at the states quickly, and we'll move on because there's only a limited point to all this anyway. I'll be right back.
This is Radio Free America on the Mark Levin Show. Call now, 877-381-3811.
Win, lose, or draw after this election. If McConnell doesn't go and Priebus doesn't go and the House knuckleheads don't go, particularly this guy Kevin McCarthy, the Republican Party is doomed. And I have a very open mind about conservatives walking. I really do. The fact is that this current scenario exists because of Mitch McConnell and John Boehner and Reince Priebus. And other Republicans in the leadership, too, who undertook an intentional campaign of deceit in 2010 with the Tea Party movement, an intentional campaign of deceit in 2014. Almost the next day turned around and told us, no, we're not going to really fight over the budgets. No, we don't have the constitutional power to appeal Obamacare. No, no, no. When they ran ads, and I played them for you to show you what a bunch of hypocrites and liars they are, when they ran ads to get elected saying they do exactly those things. So they created this scenario. In essence, they've destroyed their own party. I just read some article today somebody sent to me. There's a bunch of so-called conservative intellectuals meeting and talking. Did you see this one, Rich? Conservative intellectuals. Most of them were staffers to George W. Bush. These are conservative intellectuals. On what basis are they conservative intellectuals? Seriously, I'm quite serious about this. They're not conservative intellectuals as far as I'm concerned. What have they written that's so, I don't know, that's so profound and important and new and different and so forth and so nothing. Same social circles. They promote each other, and they do it in the liberal media. Now, these people are not conservative intellectuals. They're navel gazers. They have no followers. Even in academia, they have no followers. So there's a lot you and I are going to sort through. I'm working on it now. I've been working on it for months. I really have. We led the Tea Party movement. None of these other hosts did. We've led the constitutional conservative movement. And we will lead what comes next. I don't care if there's 12 of us left. No matter who's elected. No matter what happens to Congress. We have to. And if you listen to this program, as I've gone through a number of these things, these elections are not even about policies. They're about liberty. Individual liberty. The circle of liberty around you is shrinking. It's shrinking. And so you have, in Hillary Clinton, one of the modern-day leaders of this soft tyrannical movement that is embodied in the modern-day Democrat Party that utterly and completely rejects the American heritage. They just do. You can see they do. Now, I read you the most negative take on tomorrow's election. Now, here's a positive one. In Politico by Steve Shepard. Trump hangs tough in battleground states. Clinton is consistently ahead in national polls, but the state-level polls tell a different story. Stephen Shepard. Trump is still in the hunt. This is from 11:17 a.m. Eastern this morning. While Hillary Clinton remains consistently ahead of Trump in national election polling, the race is closer in the most populous battleground states where Trump could still spring it up.